Mortgage Dr. Rich here with a quick way to help you help your borrowers understand the difference between their interest rate and the annual percentage rate. The government requires mortgage companies and other financial institutions to issue what's known as an APR, an annual percentage rate, anytime an actual interest rate is discussed. Now, the APR represents the overall cost of originating the loan expressed in the form of a percentage. And the purpose of this is so the borrower can comparatively shop and make sure they're getting the best possible deal. All too often, customers feel that they've been bait and switched when they talk about locking in a particular interest rate, but then they receive documentation showing the APR, which is typically higher. So one of the best ways to establish satisfied customers plus is to address this proactively. Let them know in the beginning that the APR is going to be disclosed to them, but it is not the rate at which their payment is calculated. Now, most loan originators leave it at that, but my recommendation is if you go above and beyond that simple explanation, not only will they trust you, but they'll understand what it actually represents. So let's take a look so I can explain it to you relatively easy, because most loan originators typically have no idea how to explain this. So we're going to use an example of a mortgage of $200,000 fixed at 6% for 30 years, 360 months. If the borrower did this, their principal and interest payment would be $1,199.10. Now, if they went to term on this mortgage, and they did so by only making their normal monthly periodic payment, in other words, no extra payments directly to principal, they would pay their loan off in 360 monthly payments with a grand expenditure, total expenditure of $431,676. Now, where did I get that from? Well, quite frankly, we have the original loan amount of $200,000 plus an additional $231,676 in interest for a grand total of $431,676. So the customer can understand this. Basically, $200,000 fixed, 6% fixed 30 years, they're going to repay, assuming they went to term, $431,676 between the loan balance and the interest. Now, the government tells us we have to tell that customer what the interest rate would have to be for them to pay not just the principal balance, not just the interest, but the closing costs as well, certain settlement fees as well. So when you think about it, let's say that the settlement fees in question were $5,000, just making up a random number. Well, now the total expenditure would not be $431,676, rather it would be $436,676. Okay, so the borrower knows that with the settlement fees included, they're going to repay $436,676 over the 30 years, assuming that they went to term. Well, how do we account for this difference? Well, if the principal balance is a constant and the loan term is a constant, the only thing that could change to accommodate the extra $5,000 would be the interest rate would have to be higher. And that is the APR and what it represents. So in a practical perspective, let's say that a borrower was considering a mortgage of $200,000, 6% fixed for 30 years from lender A. Lender A tells them, all right, our APR for this would be 6.25%. No problem. I'll be back if I'm interested. I'm going to competitively shop. Lender B offers the same exact loan, $200,000 fixed at 6% for 30 years. But lender B's APR is 6.125%. Exact same mortgage, exact same terms, but lender B's APR is 1/8% lower than lender A's APR. What does this tell the borrower? It tells the borrower that lender B's settlement fees are less expensive and lesser amount than lender A's. And that's how it works. Simple as that. So instead of just simply telling your customer, oh, don't worry about it, it's not the rate at which your payment is being calculated, it's what we have to tell the customer for government monitoring, for comparative shopping purposes required by the government. Now the customer says, oh, okay, no problem. Fine, takes your word for it, but doesn't understand. Why not bridge that gap? Foster understanding in addition to knowledge, and then you will have a customer who will remember you forever. like, share, follow, subscribe, do whatever you need to do so you stay in touch with all the tips and strategies that I offer through these videos. And I want to help you knock the NMLS exam out of the park and launch your mortgage career successfully. Mortgage Dr. Rich here saying goodbye for now. We'll see you soon.